All right, Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. Um, I don't know what I'm going to entitle this lesson, but I was reading this article right here. Let me go to it real quick. But everybody want the easy way out. They want the easy button to everything, and that's why most of our people, when it comes to the understanding of the Bible, they're completely ignorant, and they think their ignorance is going to be able to get them over the hump. It's not going to work like that. You got to put work in. Whatever you put into something, that's what you get out of. And that's no different from anything in the world. The same thing applies to the truth. But a lot of you people want to go here. You want to go to these so-called worldly, mega church vibe so-called pastors, right? You want to be lazy. You don't want to do your own homework. You don't want to do your own study. And that's why a lot of people are gravitated to these personalities like your TD Jakes, your Joe Osteens, because they don't want to do the work themselves. They want an easy button, right? And that's why it explains a lot. It explains why most people don't know nothing when it comes to the Bible, right? And the understanding that they think they do have, right? They get it from one of these so-called pastors, right? Which would be a lot of these social media pastors. And I noticed they target the women because some women are naturally into that kind of stuff, right? They want to feel good. They want a motivational speak, right? So let's get here. Let me get into this article right here. It says pastor or motivational speaker. So these pastors have disguised themselves. Right, I'm sorry, Salaki. Let me say this correctly. These motivational speakers have disguised themselves as so-called pastors, right? Let me read this right here. It said, it seems like these days our so-called pastors, because they're not true pastors, are nothing more than motivational speakers. I want you to listen in on this. They make us feel good about ourselves. So that's why a lot of women gravitate to these so-called pastors, which would be the Micah Tides, just some old knucklehead ninja on social media, right? Right. So you got low level, mid level, and you got your high level so-called pastors. It says some even make us feel better about sinning. Well, that's true because they don't give you a definition of what sin is, right? They just say the word sin. Sin is the transgression of the law, and that was only given to the Israelites. So they're the only people that could be in sin. And the whole Bible is about the Israelites. That's something that you don't know. It says the goal of a so-called pastor should be to lead the sheep through the narrow gate and be a shepherd of the flock. Instead, they just want to be relevant to hot topics. Right, that's worldly stuff. It says they don't teach truth or judgment, which they don't. It says they don't touch the book of Revelations. Man, that's heavy. Because we go all into the book of Revelations, right? Because the Spirit on us to do that. But these fake pastors can't even understand the book of Revelation. Right. So that means as a person that if you're supposed to be serious minded, you need to run away from that. With our people in that monkey minded, degenerate state of mind. Right. Let me read this again. It says they don't touch the book of Revelations or the many prophecies coming to fulfillment today. You hear this? The Christian church don't deal with prophecies. They deal with folly. They deal with hooping and hollering, tap dancing, praise dancing, right? It says, which are extremely important because they tell the return of our Messiah and the final judgment. It says they lead with the Most High knows your heart. Rhetoric, Salakia. Instead, if you love the Most High, obey his commandments. You hear that? As the scripture says, worship in spirit and in truth. In truth. Not your feelings, not your emotions, not what your social media so-called pastor done told you. Right? It says many so-called pastors are afraid to speak against homosexuality. We're not. All right, we're not. And that should tell you who really coming in the truth. But again, our people so monkey-minded, they can't see the obvious. They can't see the forest from the trees. It says, or the blasphemy and hypocrisy of other pastors who fly around in private jets and live in mansions, while accumulating treasures on earth, right? You're supposed to be laying your treasures up in heaven, so to speak, not in this world. It says, are the pastors who are homosexuals themselves. You hear this? It says, in many cases, simply quoting scripture would be considered hate speech in today's world. You hear this? That's why people, when we go into the truth of the Bible, people consider this to be hate speech because, again, they don't know the God out of the Bible. They know the God, the false God that they've been given in Christianity through these so-called worldly pastors, right? But a lot of our people would have some bit of understanding if they would open a book up and do their own study and look words up. It's a difference from reading the Bible and it's a difference from studying the Bible. Two separate things, right? It says in many cases, simply quoting scripture would be considered hate speech in today's world. That should be alarming to everyone. It says our children are growing up more confused than ever. You got these kids identifying what they want to identify as a cat, a dog, a man, a woman. And you people don't understand it. You can't grasp what's going on because you lost. And these so-called pastors have failed you. It says, and pastors don't touch on these topics. They don't. It says they don't reveal the abominations of the so-called Catholic Church. Man, we don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. It says, teach history regarding it. It says they celebrate holidays that aren't even biblical. You hear this? Like Christmas, Easter, so on and so forth. These things are not biblical, but they've been able to be disguised, all right, under something biblical because people don't look stuff up. That's how they can be tricked. It says, although the Bible is clear about not celebrating man-made traditions, they never teach the truth if they even know it. So a lot of people don't even know the truth. That's why they come at us like we the ones that don't know what's going on. We've done our due diligence. We have done our thorough research into these scriptures. We know what the Bible is talking about. You just don't know, right? You're reacting out of your feelings and your emotions. It says, in my personal conversations with religious leaders, they don't know the Bible as much as they think they do. You hear this? So they don't know what they think they know, right? It says we are partially to blame for not holding them accountable. It says we don't teach ourselves, but we have itchy ears. So we don't know when we are being led astray. You hear this? So a lot of you people get mad at us and you think we the ones that's making something up, but you just don't understand, right? That's a lack of understanding on your part, which again, that's not our problem. That's your problem. But if you would study and stop being lazy and stop paying attention to these social media so-called pastors, you will learn something. It says we get caught up in the world chasing our own lust without realizing it is Satan who controls it. Right? But, I ain't got to go too deep, you know what I'm saying? But you get the gist of it. Right? So a lot of people, right, of our nation, they are totally lost and they're going to remain lost. Right? So it is only for the elect, the selected ones that have been selected out of this world that will have enough sense to understand these things. It's really logic and common sense. Isaiah 30:10. Let's go here. It says, they say to the seers, stop seeing visions. And to the prophets, don't prophesy to us the truth. Man, that's heavy at the very top. So our people prefer for us to lie to them like these social media so-called pastors lie to them and make them feel good and make them boast up their ego. We're not going to do that. We're going to give you the truth, the good, bad, and the ugly. Check this out. It says, speak to us pleasant words, prophesy illusions, like everything going to be all right. That's what our people want to hear. All right, go get the bag. Nothing going to never happen. That's what they want to hear, but we're not going to do that. Right? And a lot of our people just lazy. They're not studying. They BSing around. And they want to get mad at us because they think what they think they know. They don't know nothing, man. It says part of the crowd. So most of our people are really part of the crowd, right? They're in the world. They family control them. They friends and family control them, right? The world has a bigger influence on them than the Most High, but they say they love so-called God. They're lying, right? It makes no coherent sense because if you love the Most High, you're gonna follow his ways, right? You're gonna follow the Lamb, Yahweh, wherever he goeth, which means his doctrine. You will be compliant and getting yourself together, not making excuses, right? And a lot of you people, you're under that illusion that, you're still under that Sunday spell, right? You're supposed to be getting this truth every day. You're supposed to be learning something every day in the truth, not just one day a week, which Sunday is not even the correct day to worship the Most High. I'll do a whole lesson on that a whole nother day. That's a whole nother thing. It says part of the crowd. It says to end a Salakia. Let me see. Being part of the crowd. I'm trying to find a good definition. All right. But you get the what I'm trying to say. Follow the crowd, right? The scriptures requires us not to do that, right? So when you follow the crowd, following the masses of these people, you following a path of destruction. Let's go here. Matthew 7:13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, which means like narrow, right? It's a very matter of fact, I'm gonna go into that word. It says, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. So doing what everybody else doing, following these social media so-called pastors, going to these mega churches, right? Following a person, right? Because they got a lot of followers or whatever. You know what people do, right? That's the path of destruction, because the elect would be a small congregation. That's what you people don't understand. But a lot of you people need the world. You need the world to validate you. We don't need that. We don't give it. Yes. I'm trying to keep it clean. It says, and many there be which go in treat. So many gonna follow that way. They're gonna be seduced by these so-called pastors, these worldly pastors that's not teaching you the truth. Because ultimately a lot of our people don't want the truth. I'm just gonna tell you how it is. 1 second. All right, let me get into this. Matthew 7:13. I'm gonna go to this word straight, right? So it's this truth requires separation from the world. And a lot of people just not gonna do that, right? It says straight, narrow, right? It says narrow. So it's a very narrow way, right, to the path of the truth, right? Right. So, let's go back here. And a lot of people, right, not willing to walk that narrow path, right? They want to go into all this other confusion. They want to do this. They want to watch this. They want to watch this person. They want to do this. They want to participate in that, right? They want to be of the world. They want to do the things the world do, right? And they're not willing to separate. And a lot of people don't study. So if you don't study, you're not going to know what really is going on. The scriptures say study to show yourself approved. What does that mean? I'm going to put it into layman terms. If you don't study, if you don't actually look words up, you know how I just went here, right? It's called the blue letter. It's a resource that every brother and sister need to have. You need to look the words up and know how, words got to where they are today. That's a part of studying, right? Because when you go into the original King James Bible, whatever you're using, you these words mean other things, right? You have to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, right? And that causes our people to get tripped up on a lot of stuff because they don't know this, right? They're reading the Bible with the naked eye, so to speak, not looking words up and actually seeing what these words mean. All right, they just going off the interpretation they've been taught, or whatever interpretation they feel, right? And again, you don't have the truth that way. And your social media pastor, right? Again, going back into the opening of that article, they not going into this stuff. So that means you need to detach and stop watching that, man. Right? Again, they motivational speakers disguised as so-called pastors. All right. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakhat Kwadash. Shalom.